Saturday, the Experts program kicks off here on Power Talk Radio, and our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us right now. Luis, welcome to the program.
Happy Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Getting ready for Christmas in just a couple days.
That's right, the last couple days to get those last-minute gifts in. And do you have anything left that you have to shop for?
I'm hoping not. I think I want to just avoid shopping. I used to really enjoy going out, Christmas Eve and go shopping because it was always so much fun when I was younger. Now, as I've gotten older, more curmudgeon-y, I'm like, I'm just going to stay home that day.
The other day, I guess it was 2 days ago, I was going by one of the popular Christmas tree lots in Monterey, and I noticed that they still had a lot of trees, which surprised me because I recall last year about the same time, they had told me that they closed around the 22nd or 21st because they had sold all the trees, and that's generally how it goes. The minute they sell all the trees, that's it. They're done for the year. They don't get any more or anything like that. And I was surprised to see that they had as many trees left, and these were tall ones, all over 8 feet tall. So maybe that end of the business is a little tougher, and people are looking to save money and buying shorter trees because, when you get up like 8-9 foot trees, that can run into some serious money.
Yep, definitely can. Especially, and they're hard to transport and hard to set up too.
Exactly.
I always enjoy my friends who get those big giant trees. They have very tall family rooms or living rooms, and they love to get that tall tree. And I'm like, I marvel at how they can get it in there.
After having the tree in the house for the longest time, and then having to deal with all the drop of needles off of it and everything like that, and the mess that makes, I was sitting there one day and I was looking outside and I said, I've got this big deck right outside the living room where the tree goes. Why don't I put the tree on the deck and look at it lit? It can be outside, and if needles fall off of it, so what? And then when you're all done, you just take the lights off of it and you throw it over the side onto the driveway.
There you go. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Hey, a couple of interesting stories for us to touch on here today. The first one, very serious for Comcast Xfinity subscribers, and apparently there's been a huge data breach where 36 million customers, the entire database, were affected by this. Yeah, what happened?
So Xfinity's still being somewhat tight-lipped about it, but they sent out a notice to some customers saying that they became aware of a breach that actually happened sometime in October, although they didn't become aware of it until later, and finally identified it definitively at the beginning of December that somebody had hacked into their systems and were able to get into a bunch of customer information, including things like their usernames, hashed passwords. So these are passwords that have been encrypted in a way so that they're not clear text, but they can be cracked if you have the right kind of equipment. And other information like, their names, contact information, social security numbers, date of birth, and even the secret questions and answers to, like when you have to reset your password, they'll ask you, what's your mother's maiden name, those sorts of things. So this can be pretty devastating. And what Xfinity and Comcast is recommending their customers do is log into your account, immediately reset your password, and enable multi-factor authentication, which is an option for Xfinity accounts. It's something that I've done on my account. I did it a couple of years ago, and so I feel pretty okay about this particular hack. But if you have an Xfinity or Comcast account, go in there and change your password because it might be compromised.
Xfinity and Comcast. Now, the other story that we have, speaking of cookies, is that Google Chrome is going to disable third-party cookies for millions of users in the new year. Drop dead date on this is January 4th. What exactly are they doing, and why are they doing it?
So this is an initiative that Google started a few years ago to try to protect the privacy of their users. And third-party cookies are things that when you go to certain websites or you log into, let's say, an e-commerce site, it drops a so-called cookie, basically a bit of software that tells that site who you are, that you've been there before, maybe that you've already logged in and don't need to log in again. It provides a lot of information, but it also can be used by bad guys to break into accounts. So cookies are both good and bad. It saves us time because we don't have to redo things over and over again every time we go to a website, but it also stores information locally on your PC that might be compromised in the future. So Google has been working actively to try to get rid of cookies and has been working with these third parties to come up with alternatives that are more secure and less likely to invade your policy or your privacy. But these third parties haven't necessarily jumped on board because, they're like thinking, well, this is just Google. Why should we do this for one company? So Google is drawing a line in the sand, if you will. And in January, they're going to start enforcing this third-party cookie deletion policy for some of their users, but they're going to roll it out over the course of 2024 over time to eventually impact all of users of Chrome. That really, if you're using a Chrome browser, that's really where this is going to be the most impactful. But if you use any Google products that use cookies, then those two will be impacted.
And they twice postponed this third-party cookie phase-out. It was going to be early 2022, then late 2023, and now it's early 2024, starting on January 4th, and only, about 1% of their users to start with.
Yeah, because they want to see what the real impact, the real-world impact is going to be, like how pissed are people going to be when this works. And there's even an opt-out option if you're part of that initial 1%. If it becomes too bothersome, you have the alternative of opting out of the cookie removal so that you go back to the status quo, at least for now. But eventually this will impact everybody, and it's something that, since Chrome browser makes up 63% of the browsers that are being used out there in the wild, it's going to impact a lot of people.
We're talking about this for laptops and PCs, but would this also go for Google if you have it loaded on your mobile device?
Yeah, if you have a Chrome browser on your mobile device, yep, absolutely. This will also be impact that as well.
Now, I noticed that on some websites, like free websites that you want to go to, like news-type sites, they will have a pop-up that comes up and says, we see you're using a content blocker, and you have to, something that would block ads and block cookies or something like that. So then you have to hit like the AA that's down in the address line, and it brings up this page, and you select turn off content blockers, and then it allows you to see the news information. So is that what Google is aiming at getting rid of, those types of third-party cookies and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, that's what their aim is. And again, the idea is that they want to protect the privacy of Chrome users, and they think that some, not all, but some third-party providers abuse of cookies as a way to track you and, make sure that once you look at a toaster in a search engine, you're going to see nothing but toasters from that point on every time you go to any website, that sort of thing. They're trying to keep that information from being used by marketeers to, exploit their users.
Right. But then at the same time, do you risk that on some of these sites that you've gone to, that you're going to have to disable the Google feature, because then it's not going to allow you, the third party or the site isn't going to allow you to view their content unless you allow them to drop that stuff in there.
Yep, exactly. And that's, that's the fight that you're going to get to eventually, is like, you're using Chrome, so you can't come to our website because we don't adhere to Google's policies, and you're going to have to use either Edge or Mozilla or some other browser in order to visit our site.
That's Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group. Online, it's alvareztg.com, at alvareztg. That is the not the Twitter handle, but it's the X handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
All right. Thank you, Luis, and Merry Christmas again, and we'll talk again on Monday.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend.